We didn't prepare well, I felt, in going into the last conference. I thought that was really the big deal. We had the time, but we just didn't, really get down and dirty and do the things we needed to do to get ourselves ready. I didn't think we were in the best of shape. We had some injuries that were early, so guys weren't able to get into early practices. And it just kind of carried over. We got off to a slow start, lost some games we probably should have won, or against teams we should have beaten. And that got us off on the wrong foot, and we could just never recovered. It just seemed like one of those times where just everything went wrong for us. And, when you win a championship, it just seems like everything goes right. It's amazing, you get the right schedule, the other team gets injured, it takes a lot to win a championship, and a lot of things have to go right for that to happen. And it just happens it's kind of like the odds are that just everything went wrong for us this last time. But, we feel like that one's over with. I feel like it's been a new lease on life. This is the first time we've been able to do 2-a-day practices in 2 years, which means we're around together, we're around each other a lot. We're getting a lot of extra work done. Guys are getting in good shape, and it's given us time to really kind of reassess what we're doing offensively and what we're doing defensively. And we're making some changes, and led by your dad, by the way, but led by Coach Richard Del Rosario, and we have a whole new look, I think, coming into this next conference. And to top it all off, we have Justin Brownlee coming back, and that's really the key. We have Justin coming back, then whatever weaknesses we showed in the last bubble, I guarantee you Justin will make up for those weaknesses.
Now, Coach, what has the team been working on the most in preparation for the Governor's Cup? Because after you lost to TNT, you did say that finish would never happen again as long as you're the coach.
Well, I'm not sure that we'll never have that finish again, but we'll never play with. I felt the lack of alacrity that we missed in that. We just didn't bring it, and we needed to bring it a lot harder than we did, and I'm responsible for that. If we're not playing with that kind of intensity, that's on me, and we didn't get like I said, we didn't get our guys prepared from the get-go. So that's what I mean by it'll never happen again. I'm gonna make sure our guys are prepared the next time around. But right now like I said, we're making some adjustments to our offense, and we're certainly going to play a little better defensively. And then I think Justin is arriving in about 3 days. So we're looking forward to his arrival and the things that we can do with him and explore him and the new things that we're doing.
Well, Coach, you mentioned Justin, and it's funny because I had a conversation with my dad about your offense, actually, and I asked him, so how are you going to bust zones? And he said, we have Justin. He's our zone buster. I just want to ask you, Coach, just what does Justin bring here that, always has you calling him up every time it's an import-laden conference?
Well, I think it's not just his skills. In fact, I think the skills are less a factor. It's really about his personality and the way he blends with his teammates, the way he motivates his teammates, the way he makes his teammates better around him. And there's no doubt when he walks onto the floor, we play at a whole new level. And that really is from his personality, not just on the floor itself, but off the floor, in practice, all the things that he does. Sometimes imports come in, they kind of take everything for granted. They take the league for granted. They played in the NBA, and it's like, I'm too good for this league now because I played in the NBA. And so they kind of take it easy. They don't want to come to practice every day. They want to, rest their knees or rest or whatever. Never happens with Justin. Justin comes to practice every day and works. He works before practice, and then when we do our practice, he's 100% out there, focused, mentally ready. And then after practice, he spends another half hour, 45 minutes to an hour, just working on his game after practice. And you just don't see that in imports like that. And he's really devoted. And so, yes, he's a great player, and he has great skills. He can shoot it, he can handle it. He can rebound. There's a lot of things he can do, but his special skill is his attitude towards the game and what he brings to the team, what he brings to his teammates.
Now, Coach, compared to a lot of the other teams, Ginebra's core is still pretty intact. What is the mindset behind this consistency?
Well, I think that I think there's been a lot of talk about our core getting a little older, and that's true. We are getting a little older, but we don't find that they are beyond their prime. We think they're entering the end of their prime, but there's still a lot to give. I mean, you can look at an LA Tenorio and say, look, he's still got a lot of game left.
Yeah.
You can look at a Stanley Pringle, a Japeth Aguilar, and say, these guys got a lot of game left. And they have championships still in it. And maybe people start to think that our time is kind of ending, but we don't believe that. We believe our time is still now. We believe that we still have the opportunity. We took a step backward in this last bubble, but we did win the 2 championships before that. And so we took a step back, but we feel we're going to take 2 steps forward coming into this conference. With the core group that we have, and with the addition of Justin.
Of course, Coach, and I'm sure, especially when there's an import conference, Justin is part of that core group for sure, with the amount of time he's been with Barangay Ginebra. But Coach, Ginebra has made a few moves already in the offseason, trying to rejigger the roster. You got Sydney Onwubere in particular. What are the things that you were trying to address in the team with the acquisition of Sydney? And if ever, what are you trying to improve on to make sure that personnel-wise, matchup-wise, that you guys are ready for the upcoming conference?
Well, one of the things Sydney gives us, he gives us that 4-3-4 player who can be versatile and guard different types of players. He's amazingly strong. I mean, he is a man's man. He is a big boy. He knows how to throw his body around. He's really good around the basket, and yet he has a nice touch from the three-point line. And we feel like, he's entering his 29th year. He's 29 years old now. And that to us is the prime years. That's when he starts to figure it all out. And so we're hoping we're catching him right at the right time where he can come in and kind of elevate our core. Right now we're missing Aljon Mariano. He's always been that, kind of tough guy for us, and we're missing him for injury. He doesn't have a timetable yet on when he'll be back. So getting Sydney was really crucial for us to help us in that position, because Aljon was a big factor in the 2 championships that we won.
Yeah.
And we think Sydney can kind of feel out that spot and maybe even take it up to a whole new level. And then when Aljon comes back, now we got 2 guys that can go and battle, play imports, battle bigger guys, and be a presence on the rebounds, and athletic enough to get down the floor and get easy baskets.
All right, Coach, right before we move on to the NBA here, your message to the NSD supporters out there who are excited to see their team in person, hopefully very soon.
Well, like I said earlier, we're more excited about seeing them than they are about us. I mean, it's been, I look back at that last bubble, and it was always been Ginebra's great, fortune, blessing, that whenever they had a bad time in the season, whenever they were, kind of down and out, maybe on a losing streak, they could walk into the stadium and the whole Coliseum would lift them up. And that was just something we were lacking in that last bubble. The first bubble, we were able to sustain momentum all the way from kind of like beginning to end, from the first week where we won our first 4 games into the championship. But the second bubble, we had a really hard time generating momentum. Yeah. And that is what our crowds do for us. They generate momentum for us. And when we're our lowest point, they pick us up. So again, for me, we're looking forward to seeing them a lot more than they're looking forward to seeing us. So we're hoping that PBA is able to open things up. Yeah. That people get vaccinated and they come watch. They come watch us play and give us the needed boost that we're so looking forward to.